back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. That's the theme for this early morning check in. One of the things that I love is, believe it or not, the mornings. Now, people that know me up close and personal would say, Monette, we would beg to differ. But if I get a good night's sleep and I've made good food choices the day before and taken some self care measures of health and walks and energy, I am fantastic for an early morning check in. And even if none of those things have happened, my favorite time of the day is early morning when the house is quiet before anybody is up. And I go out and I sit in my area and I play various instruments and I connect with my energy and I connect with every single magical angel that wants to chat with me and I connect with God. I have a litany of instruments, and you can go back and see some of them on my videos, from rain sticks to drums to um, singing bowls to sacral chakra tuning bells, you name it. It's the old preschool teacher in me. I have a whole area in my house, a plant stand that I've turned into my musical stand. And so when my friends come over, they will pick up stuff and we will play and sing. One of my favorite memories is having one of my friends who is Puerto Rican come over, and we put on some great African Spanish music, and she played the congos, the bongos, which I have, and I played other instruments, and she sang in her native language, and it was beautiful. That's the kind of energy that I like to have in my house. And when you have those kind of creative touches, you can do that. Maybe that's a message for someone. Go buy an instrument that you loved in preschool and have it near you, and it helps to ground you, and it helps me to ground myself and connect with that beautiful energy of music. Because as you guys know, while singing is not one of the talents I was given, I do enjoy expressing myself musically because I do play several instruments and did for many years, and it just matters. Music matters. Anyway, that's my little spiel about music. I will hop on off my soapbox about that. Now, if I'm not making noise in the morning, and that doesn't come first, usually what comes first is some writing, some journaling, and maybe listening to some meditations or something, or reading, whatever the case may be. I like early morning energy check ins. And one of the things that I always loved is an early morning check in with my bestie. That's a thing that I enjoy. Now, you would think, like, God, none of us want to really talk first thing in the morning. Not necessarily. And I don't always do that. That doesn't happen every day. But I will tell you guys that the opportunity to have that kind of connection came my way at later years in my life, right? And I remember it was something that I had always wanted, but it was something in other relationship areas that I had been denied until you meet a counterpart that's actually right for you, a soulmate that's actually your person, your boo, energetically. And that stuff is just easy. And I was asked to kind of like convey this message because I just finished an early morning check in with my bestie. And we, as we say, solved all the problems of the world, and that happens in a usual, 20 to 40 minute conversation, depending on what time we have. My bestie is a boss, a boss babe, not an MLM boss babe, but like an actual boss babe. No offense to you MLM boss babes out there, but like true story, like, I'm always floored and impressed by the work that she does. 100,000 cases that pass through her desk. A real self-made person, self-made millionaire. I love my bestie. She's self-made, and she came from circumstances similar to me. But one of the things, when I say that, meaning our stories couldn't be more different, our ethnicities couldn't be more different, but our grind and our hustle to elevate out of our circumstances is very similar. And when you are in alignment with good connections, you will find that you will have these similarities. And one of the things that we both like is an early morning check in. Now, I will admit my bestie is much better at early mornings because she is used to being a boss. And so she is up and she's doing a million things, and she has a tribe of beautiful puppies and dogs that she takes care of, a pack that are by her side as she sits in her chaise and she sips her coffee. We both love coffee. And so we had this morning chat, And I highly recommend that if you have the ability to connect and ground with someone, do that. For some of you guys, it could be your spouse. For some of you guys, it could be your friends. For some of you guys, it could be a quiet chase sitting with your puppies, right? We all have different ways that we have early morning check ins, but I advise highly that you have an early morning check in. Now, for me, I delight in sharing energy. That's my Gemini rising. I like communication, I like conversation. And sometimes I want to do a little shout out here to not being in the right situation and not having that need met. And it's okay. Everybody is not going to be a morning person. And there are admittedly some days when I am not a morning person. I know you guys can't tell because I come on here at all hours of the day and night and I talk to you guys. And that just depends on how I felt or how I slept, like I said at the beginning. However, I love connection. And so if that's something that you value, that build it in your life so that you can feel right and balanced as you go throughout your day. Now, here's the example. Some of you guys maybe have been in connections with people where whatever way that you love to kind of vibrate wasn't necessarily reciprocated. And we all want to make room for our friends because, again, not all of us have the same personality. My bestie consistently is up at early hours. As the weekend calls them, the scary hours. She is consistently up. And she knows me well enough to know that if I'm up that early, sometimes it means that I haven't slept. And sometimes it means that I've worked through the night or whatever. I was going through some downloads or whatever. Y'all know how I am over here by now. But one of the things is that she may not want to chat every morning. So you have to give people room for who they are. There must be some message here for somebody about that. And I may not want to chat every morning. So she's very careful and she knows me and she knows exactly how to approach me. I would say she handles me very well. But one of the things that I did want in other connections and relationships before this bestie manifested and matriculated into my life was that connection. And I remember having a friend who did not really enjoy that and, in fact, gave strong boundaries for it that she just was not going to have morning conversations because even though I didn't want it every day, sometimes I did crave that and I did want that. Remember, I just made a video about articulate your needs sooner and get them met. Well, I did, and that was just something she was not willing to do. But for the right person, she was absolutely willing to. And what I want you guys to understand is that there will be people that you have synergy with where it will just be easy. I remember one morning, for whatever reason, we were on the phone and then someone called in and she said to me, "That's so strange. This never happens. Now you guys know what I do for a living." And I knew she was lying. I knew that it was something that happened all the time and that she was just lying to me. And it said something to me is that she was willing for another person to break whatever her boundary was with me. For whatever reason, she had reached out to me because of some emergency for her that morning, and she was able to break her rule of no morning conversation. She absolutely refused them and had disdain for them. And that's fine because we all have our different way. Not all of us want to be chatting on the phone in the early part of the day. However, for a person that was her soulmate and that was her real bestie and was a person that she actually loved, she was willing to break those rules. She was willing to make an adjustment to do those energy check ins. So that's a message for somebody here. Sometimes we will make concessions for other people that we will not make for anyone else. I'm reminded of Jeannie Mai, who recently just had her first child with the rapper Jeezy. Jeannie Mai was married to somebody else who loved country and she loved rock and roll. And he is from a different political section, and now she's in a different one herself. But she never wanted children. He did. And then they broke up, and he ended up getting someone pregnant and married right away. And then Jeannie, who never wanted children, just had a baby. And when asked about what the difference was, she says, but it was the right person. For Jeezy, her now husband, he was the right person. I never thought this was my reality. I never thought this was something I wanted. Jeannie Mai was on her hustle and grind, building a career in life in Hollywood. But for the right person that loved her good, she did concede to doing what her body said that she could. And she didn't just concede because she was browbeaten. She bent because of love, because that was the person that literally, let me not to be too like gross and like sappy, but that was sent from above to help her evolve. and to go through that beautiful lesson of motherhood and childbirth. That's not for all of us, right? But it's a very powerful lesson about the fact that the person that you care about, you will do things for that you would not do for anybody else. And it is in great part to that one moment when my bestie at the time lied to me and said, "This doesn't happen all the time," but I knew she had given someone permission and access to her energy on a regular basis that she would not allow me. That's when I decided to step aside. Um, and the reason I say that to you is that sometimes you'll be asked to step out of the way. I often have joked that I was kind of interrupting their love story, but the truth is that I was denying myself my own love story. Do you guys get it? So many of us are coming from fractured relationships, and I'm thinking of you, Kesala. I don't know if you're here today, this morning, but I'm sure you'll listen back. Good morning, Kesala. And she asked me a question in my last live, and she said, "How? It's so hard to watch someone that you gave everything to go and give it to the next person after you gave them the blueprint and you only wanted these things from them and they would never do it with you." And Kesala, I think of you this morning as I tell this story. I watched her do a thing, a very simple, small thing, early morning energy check ins, which is one of my favorite things. And again, not something I expected on a daily basis because, hello, we're human and we all need our spaces, right? But something that I deeply desired, she absolutely denied me access to unless she needed it or she wanted to reach out to me. It was very one sided. There was no reciprocity. But for the person who she was meant to love and be with, for the person who was her life partner and her bestie and her wifey and whatever, she easily acquiesced and conceded, just like Jeannie Mai did, because it was right for her. That person needed her in the mornings, needed those check-ins in the mornings. And Kesala, the lesson here is that I had prepped her to know what that energy would be like. I was teaching her about what relationship reciprocity would be like. Yes, it wasn't anything that she did for me, but when that call actually changed the trajectory. She never knew it, but that call that morning that she lied to me about that, this never happens. This is so strange. And I thought, no, of course, this happens all the time because you allowed it and because you welcomed it, but it's not something you would do for me. I realized that I was not a priority and I showed myself to the door. Does that make sense? Energetically, that's the moment, energetically, I remember that I left. I remember that moment. It was very pivotal for me. I had been miserable in all of the things, but in that moment, I thought, oh my gosh, she is capable of doing this. She is capable of doing this one little simple thing that I wanted all of our friendship. And she denied me and made fun of me and acted like it was so strange. But for the right person, she was willing to change. And she allowed her in the mornings, day after day, and then tried to gaslight me and tell me that I was seeing it a different way. I was not, but I didn't want to dwell there. Sometimes when you notice that someone is willing to bend for someone else, it means that they have a lesson that they are going to teach each other that will be powerful and you are not part of it. It's not always about you. It was about those two in that moment and their union, beautiful or otherwise, that they had to go through. And what that meant for me is that God was saying, if you can release this thing and let her have her bestie who was allowed to ring her in the morning, then you'll have one too. Now I didn't know that. In case Sala, if you're listening, there was no guarantee that I would have an energy in the morning bestie. But man, I got it in spades. And I'm saying it not to be flaunting or rubbing it in anyone's face, but to say I'm so grateful that the right bestie came my way, who is really actually a morning person when I'm not. When I say I'm not, what it means is that I would not be the person that's going to be chatting up with you every morning at 6 a.m. per se. I can be moody and grumpy and all of the rest of the things like any other human in the morning. But my bestie is not that. She is zippity doo dah from the second she gets up, and it's adorable and it's hilarious and it is so welcomed. and I allow the connection because it's something that I remember I wanted. And my angels, when they gave it to me and they said, now it's so funny too. There's a little parallel here about how we will be learning lessons through different connections that we have, various soulmates, twin flames, all the rest of it, right? I would call this bestie definitely a soulmate. That's usually what happens when your twin flame uh, p-jacks the assignment, when they like kamikaze the assignment. Your angels are watching that, God's watching that, and they have somebody that's in the wings waiting to come in and do it the right way with you. So, and the beautiful thing about it is twin flames are usually toxic AF, and turn out how they turn out and leave us all distraught and tattered and torn and with shrapnel, emotional shrapnel. And soulmates is just easier. Okay. So what I will say about this is that in this I would flip it and reverse it. I might be more of my old person that could never get it right for me, meaning that I am the more grumpy. While that's maybe, it's funny, I got to see me how she saw me, meaning I think that my bestie now is how I was to her, chipper, always bright, whatever. That's how I always was to her. My bestie deals with me and is so patient and sweet and knows my moods and rides them very well. However, I got to see the parallel. I got to see it. I was like, oh, this is what the old person must have felt about me. Except I actually welcome the energy of my bestie because it's something I prayed for. Do you get it? We all have things that we want. We all have things that are our favorite things. And early morning check ins with someone who I'm connected to, who is balancing, who is never draining, is a wonderful thing. I don't know what the dynamic was because I wasn't in their relationship of my quote unquote exie and the person that she was supposed to really be with. I don't know if those conversations were draining for her or not. I don't know if she delighted in them, but I know that she made room for them. Be in a relationship with someone who will make room for you. Those two were supposed to be in a relationship because she made room for her in a way that she would never do for me, no matter what I said or how much energy I gave. And I couldn't be bitter about it at the end of the day. That day that that happened, I was like, I get it. I'm not your person because these are the things you do for someone that's your person. And again, I sound, I'm repeating myself here, but I want you to get the message loud and clear. The person that was my person does those things for me, meaning it's not an issue for us to have an early morning conversation. I am not shunned. It doesn't matter what time of day or night I reach out to her. The phone, if she is awake and alive, she's going to pick up. That doesn't mean we don't have boundaries. It doesn't mean that there are some moments that are off limits. It doesn't mean that if we're spending time with our significant others that we might not be in our phone. That's okay. But what I do know is that we carve out time specifically to connect. And it's something you should do with any friend you have, whether it's your bestie or someone that you've loved for 15, 20 years. Sometimes just text them, hey, I love you. Sometimes just say, hey, I'm thinking of you. Okay? Energy check ins are needed. We are not people that are meant to live on an island without love. We will need other people, but be with people that are going to feed into you and that are considering you their boo in the way of that they know that they can create time and space. Sometimes when you're talking to someone, you can feel the energy drain. I'm very attuned to this now as a reader because every day I work with clients, and there are some clients that are energy vampires that aren't really calling to do work, but they want to kind of siphon. And empaths, that's one of the cautionary tales of being an empath is that people want to take your energy. And that's why these energy check ins matter with people that ground you. One of the things that I noted with my energy check in with my bestie is that I never leave a conversation with her feeling exhausted. It doesn't matter if she's had the worst day because she is a real boss, like I said, with real problems that get thrown her way and problem solving, working for a multi-million dollar company and being higher up in that and being a boss in that. And so she has things that, it's so funny. It's something that I even said to her this morning. I said, the decisions I make in my day have to do with like colors and vibrancy and glitter and readings and what kind of cards I'm going to use and do I have enough Palo Santo. The decisions she makes, she's running through. She said something like 100,000 clients, that go through just her division. Like power moves stuff. So we are different on different ends of the spectrum. But the thing about it is I still will transmute energy for her, and she will still transmute energy for me in both of our businesses that are very different, right? We're both entrepreneurs in our own way, and they're both very different. And it's just an interesting thing to see that you can be someone's bestie and kind of transmute that energy for them and not necessarily know exactly what they do per se, right? She knows what I do and I know what she does, but I can't even fathom her day. Does that make sense? And so when we connect in the morning, when we get a chance to, then it can't be something that's an energy drain because she has so much to do and so many people to deal with. And I have so much to do and so many people to deal with. But we both love making the donuts, as we like to say. It's kind of our inside joke. For me, it's making the donuts. That's what I call doing my work. I go nuts. I love making the donuts, meaning working with clients. And my work never ends. It could be a whole day event. And she's able to triage that and almost like clean my energy when we do get to touch base, whether it's at the end of the night or in the beginning of the day, as all besties will do throughout the day. You guys know how it goes. When you allow someone access to you that way, you want to check and make sure that they're not draining your energy. An energy check in for me and my bestie replenishes me. I don't ever feel anything other than like delighted when we hang up. I don't, even if her day was rough or my day was rough, I never feel anything other than grateful. Like, oh, that was really nice. And if you don't have people in your life that cause you to feel that, you want to kind of pay attention to that. Now, back to you, Kesala, if you are still here. You will know that a real soulmate for you is near when you feel edified and they recognize you and they are kind to you and they replenish you and they find ways to make your life easier. And it's easy to do. This is not, I didn't have to negotiate with this bestie about early morning check ins. In fact, the first time she'll ever hear about my past history with this is when she listens to this video, because God bless her soul, she is my biggest supporter. And it's not anything that I've discussed with her. I've never said to her, thank you, because this is something my XD wouldn't do. She will know about this when she hears about it, just like you are listening to it. But and I didn't have to say all of that, but I've just been quietly in gratitude because she does not know that history of that. Because you don't like throw up everything. She definitely helped me through a lot of things with that very graciously, I might add. However, I didn't you can't parse out every detail of a broken relationship to whomever is your next person or your next, connection or whatever, right? It's just not even really healthy. But this is something that I'm so grateful for. And it's one of the reasons I adore her because she didn't realize how she healed a wound for me. That rejection for all those years of whom someone I thought mistakenly was my person who did not feel the same way about me. And again, guys, what I say to you is it's okay for someone not to feel the same way about you. It's not okay for them to lie and lead you on and XYZ to the third power. But behavior is the great identifier of truth. Her behavior and willingness to acquiesce for her person, her love, her bestie, her friend, her lover, her whatever, showed me that it was not me. And my angel said, no, it'll never be you. That's her true person. That's her true love. That's her true connection because she's willing to do something for her that she was never willing to do for you. And it hurt, but it was an eye opener, and I got to leave that day energetically and pivot towards someone who actually wanted to be in real connection with me and who did not find it a task to take on my energy, who is grateful in return of the connection that we have and the energy that we share in the moments that we get to and makes me feel like it's effortless for her. I don't feel like it's a chore. If someone makes loving you feel like a chore, it's not your person and they are seeking more and they will probably outsource right in front of you, and that is not to trigger you, my sweet empath. It's so that you can get on your right alignment so that you can find what's right for you too. That moment of her taking that call and lying to me was freeing, and it was eye opening, and it was sad. It was so many things, but it put me on such a better track and trajectory to finding a love and a connection and a friendship that was in alignment with me because she had found hers. And I could have stayed and done what a lot of us do and get into that third party mentality and competition, which she may have wanted. She could have easily not taken that call, but it spoke volumes to me that she took the call while we were on the call, because what it said to me is she matters. See, there's an unspoken language of all of that, right? It conveyed to me she matters, and right now she matters more than you. And she matters so much that I'm gonna lie to you about it and take the call, because if I don't pick up for her, she's very needy, she's very persistent, she's gonna be triggered. And she cared so much about the rest of how their day would go that she put me on hold. And in so many ways, she had put me on hold. Don't be in a relationship with someone that puts you on hold. I'm not talking about actually, girl, y'all, we all have to put people on hold sometimes. But I felt it in so many ways, and it played out exactly how that call went. Someone else was a priority. That is never going to be the case with the person that I call bestie now. I am the priority. She's made it clear she is my priority regarding our friendship, right? Specifically, we have other priorities in our life and other people and kiddos and doggos and husbandos and all that stuff. But regarding connection, we understand that we are prioritized. And that's what I want for you guys. I love energy check ins, I love early morning chats. I love when I know for a fact that someone has my back. And sometimes they'll take you out of something where you think that that was what was happening to put you exactly where you need to be with someone who's actually your bestie and who actually has your best interest at heart and would not put you on hold to deal with something else unless it was an actual real emergency. They won't gaslight you, they won't lie to you, because that's what friends actually do. They tell the truth and they show up. Anyway, that's your morning message. I don't know who that's for or if that has any relevance, but love people that are loving you back. You deserve that. Hear my voice here. I am happy, I'm satiated, I'm fulfilled, because someone isn't making me feel like it's a chore to chat with me, especially when you know that you offer edification and all things lovely. Empath, know your worth and find your true north and find your tribe. And I promise you, when you start to walk in the right direction, the right person will show up by your side. I love you so much. Come back and join me next time, and we will continue to. Hey, Casella, I knew you'd be here. Good morning, sweet pea. All right, evolve together.